Evaluation question 7. Looking back at your preliminary task, what do you feel you have learnt in the process from it to the full product? There is a clear amount of improvement from my original preliminary task to my finished 6-page music magazine. Improved knowledge of technologies such as Photoshop and InDesign, improved photography, increased knowledge of magazine conventions, and more through research all contributes to the vast improvement in and quality of work. Firstly, my research of my target audience for my final piece of coursework was quite extensive, trying to abide by obvious stereotypical representations such as colour, mise-en-scène and language, linking it to my music genre. I created an audience profile and put a full media pack together for my magazine, whereas for my preliminary task I simply generalised TRC students, not taking into account more detailed binary opposites such as male versus female gender split. My knowledge of magazine conventions have adapted and improved because I now understand the colours and props and how they relate to the artist and how to use anchorage in unique ways. I've improved from simply using any font as my masthead and using a colour that looks best to now encoding the colours and font to connote the meaning of the magazine. For example, on my music magazine front cover, my masthead has dramatically improved. The colours match my house style, but they also connote purity and passion for the music through the colours of white and red. The vinyl, representing the O, connotes the idea of classic rock, which is reinforced by the italic font. The font is simple, the letters are facing out and there is no editing on the letters connoting the music genre, but also keeping it simple, which makes it look more professional. There is also a large difference in how I laid out my magazine. An obvious development for me is the size of the pictures on my student contents page in comparison to the images on my music magazine contents. I varied the sizes of my images, which contribute to the verisimilitude of my magazine and also how interesting it looks looking back at my student contents page. To me it looks extremely basic and boring. The layout of my cover is also changed, taking into account what the audience reads first. After reading the main cover line, they will move to look at other cover lines, usually starting with the top left hand corner because it's how we read the magazine. So I put my best features first, followed by the competitions, which are less important to the reader. When doing my preliminary task, I didn't take this into account and just placed the cover lines wherever they fit best on the page. For my final piece of coursework, I was constantly moving aspects of my cover around, moving the image and other conventions to express the meaning behind their use in the most obvious way. I have personally improved my technological understanding of software such as Photoshop, so I have also had tutorials of how to use them from members of staff at my college, so that made it easier to complete my work. I was taught how to airbrush, which I needed for a few artists in my magazine to create the ideal self and ideal partner visual my artist combined with the spot tool. I learnt various other tools such as the eyedropper tool, how to add stroke and drop shadows, the lasso tool and the 3D shape tool. Some of these I used frequently, others I didn't need as they weren't appropriate for my magazine, but I have expanded my knowledge of how to use them for the future. When I came to design the content of my magazine, including my contents page, I used InDesign for this, but we did not have a tutorial for this, so I had to learn how to use this independently, but I believe I managed quite well as I managed to help other students use it as well. I like this software as I believe it's easier to use than Photoshop, with all the layers that you just need to click on to edit. My photography from the original student magazine cover consisted of a few photographs in the best open space I could find as the performing arts studio wasn't available. With more preparation for this I could have gained a better space and concentrated more on the mise-en-scène of the student. When planning the photo shoots for my main magazine, I created call sheets and production schedules as well as hiring out the college photography studio and camera in advance to guarantee the photo shoot could take place. Overall, for all my images, I took about 400, with varied shots and mise-en-scène to represent the artist in different ways. I also progressed from the first photo shoot, where there was lots of overexposed images, to the final photo shoot, where I knew how to use the lighting and the camera, and I felt comfortable to get the shots in more concise time period. With all these put together, you can see the progress, especially on my more detailed aspects of the magazine, such as the alignment of text, which is poor on my contents page, to a professional looking contents page with large amounts of guidelines. I understood the conventions of magazines to a bigger extent by choosing the best photos and text to suit the genre of the artist. I had to make sure that all my text was very clear to read, as some of my preliminary tasks was difficult to read, whereas I am now confident that all my text is readable. I have progressed incredibly, in my opinion, and from my preliminary task, and I now feel comfortable with all the technologies, whereas before I felt uncomfortable and confused using certain technologies. This is definitely reflected on my work, with proof of this from the comments from teachers and my target audience reflecting my finished magazine.